And good evening. Tonight, it's the last-minute dash to the Thanksgiving table. This year's record-breaking holiday travel upended, all thanks to coast-to-coast storms. We're taking a live look tonight here in Top Story at Philadelphia and Orlando right now. Drivers, some of them in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and airports backed up on what is expected to be the busiest travel day of the entire week. At this hour, we're still seeing a number of significant delays. The worst airports right now, you see them here, Denver International, Newark, and Dallas-Fort Worth. Newark is struggling to keep up due to a shortage of air traffic controllers. Snow and rain spelling out a mess from the roads to the skies. An avalanche advisory just issued for the surrounding Denver area. And this system is now lashing at the central U.S. Nearly 80 million Americans expected to travel this week, according to AAA. That number is expected to shatter past records. And you can see a majority of people are hitting the roads. This storm set to take a direct aim at the East Coast on Thanksgiving Day. Millions from Raleigh up to Boston bracing for a cold washout, and some places could even see snow. Our Al Roker standing by tonight to time it out, including what it all means for the iconic Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Will the balloons fly, or will the conditions threaten the holiday tradition? We have a lot to get to this evening, and tonight we start with Tom Costello.
Moving through the Rockies and taking aim at the Midwest this evening, heavy rain and snow.
We encountered a massive thunderstorm, so you couldn't even see 5 feet in front of you.
Both Salt Lake City and Denver airports de-icing departing flights. Denver leading the country with nearly 600 flight delays. Heavy fog in Tampa this morning. And while many airports started with long TSA lines but few disruptions on the FlightAware misery map, that changed as the weather moved in.
Get here early. There are lines. Please get here early. At
Newark Airport, a critical hub for United, 95-minute departure delays amid the ongoing shortage of air traffic controllers. 300-plus delays at Newark. United says 28,000 of its passengers are impacted every day.
Runway 28 right at Charlie, clear for takeoff.
While the FAA is training new controllers at its academy in Oklahoma City, trying to keep up with attrition and retirements.
How long will it take you to get to full staffing?
Our goal is 5 to 7 years to be fully staffed and comfortable.
In the meantime, the rush is on today.
I wanted to see if I could take 740 off the gate instead.
NBC's Adrienne Broaddus at the American Airlines Ops Center at Chicago O'Hare.
American Airlines expects nearly 31,000 passengers to pass through O'Hare alone today. And this is where they monitor every single flight, trying to mitigate delays and cancellations.
Meanwhile, a yearly ritual on the nation's roads. A record 71 million Americans hoping to beat the weather and slide into a Thanksgiving dinner.
Trying to get it out early because we came from Georgia for Atlanta, so we left probably about 1 this morning.
Tom Costello joins us tonight from Reagan National Airport in Arlington. You know, Tom, I'm watching your story, and I'm thinking it feels like the airlines are going full throttle. Put this into perspective. How many flights a day on a typical domestic day do we see, and then how many now during Thanksgiving?
So virtually every plane is being deployed right now. They may hold a few in reserve, but virtually every plane in an aircraft's and an airline's fleet is out there. Typically, they're going to fly 8 to 10 flights a day. Once it lands, they've got 45 minutes on a 737, 45 minutes to turn it, right? All the bags off, all the people off, all the bags back on, all the people back on, and then get out again. 45 minutes. That's on a domestic flight. If they're going international, they've got about an hour to make that turn.
It's crazy. Wow, it's going to be really full throttle, as you said. I do also want to ask you, before you go and before you start marinating your turkeys, give our viewers the top lines of this travel holiday, the busiest times, best times to leave. We're all listening.
So this today is going to be the busiest day, and then, of course, tomorrow, Thanksgiving. Then it drops down, right? 1.7 million people flying. Sunday, that's the mega day. I mean, we've got everybody trying to get the kids back to school. Everybody's trying to get back to work. The TSA expecting more than 3 million people traveling on that day. Now, if you're driving, the worst time to drive is between 12 and 7 p.m., according to the AAA. 12 and 7 p.m. is really not a good time. And then on Monday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., right? So you can imagine, if you've got the bright idea you're going to get back to work on Monday, you're not the only one, and so you're going to have a lot of company.
All right, Al Roker's here now to walk us through the next couple of days, including that holiday forecast. So, Al, let's talk about those two storms. Tell us what you're tracking tonight.
Well, right now, Tom, we can see from Dodge City, where they got snow, heavier showers and thunderstorms from Kansas City all the way into the Ohio River Valley. We're looking at really wet weather. That's going to make its way along the eastern seaboard tomorrow for Thanksgiving Day. That's the main problem. That's where we're going to see all the issues. Very cold conditions through the plains, sunshine out west. Now, we move into Sunday, big travel day again. And we're talking about a December chill. The only real problem we see is some heavy lake effect snow. Otherwise, temperatures a little on the cooler side. And speaking of lake effect snow, from Ashtabula, Ohio to Augusta, Maine, we're talking about winter weather advisories, storm watches, and warnings. Lake effect snow is going to be drawing right across the Great Lakes from Alpena, Michigan, where we could to the west see about 2 feet of snow. But from Cleveland to Watertown, there could be upwards of 3 feet of snow. And Tom, some of the coldest air of the season is going to be coming in. It's the Siberian Express, literally a cold air mass from Russia, temperatures as cold as 30 degrees below zero. They're going to wrap between that low pressure and that high pressure over Alaska, comes down through Canada, 5,000-mile trek, and then draws down south, as far south as Memphis, Knoxville, Washington, D.C. Look at these temperatures at the end of the weekend going into early next week, 10 to 20 degrees below average. St. Louis, you're going to be in the low to mid-30s. Charleston, mid-30s, mid to upper 30s in New York. Even Atlanta, even though it doesn't seem that cold, but mid-40s by the time we begin the week, Tom.
Wow, the Siberian Express, it sounds like a professional wrestler, right? Al, tomorrow we're watching those storms. You're going to be out there on the parade route. Talk to us about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade forecast.
That's right. I'm going to be riding Tom Turkey starting at 8:30. If you want a drumstick, I'll get it for you early, Tom. But we're looking at steady rain. The good news is only about 10-mile-per-hour winds. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 40s.
Yeah, 10-mile-per-hour winds may not sound like much, but it can affect those balloons. Walk us through, if you can, Al. Entertain us here. Take us down sort of Nightmare Lane, like some of those really rough Thanksgivings where you were out there on the parade route. I think 1997 was one where it was incredibly intense.
That's right. Really cold, really windy. They had to bring the balloons down, all the way down, because they had problems. Balloons were deflating, a real mess. Now, coldest Thanksgiving Day parade, 17 degrees in 2018. The warmest was 69 in 1933. The wettest, well, that happened back in 2006, almost 1.75 inches. The snowiest back in 1989, almost 4.5 inches of snow. And of course, the parade starts 8:30, NBC and Peacock. Tom, I know you will be watching while you start frying those turkeys.
Oh, man, I can't do both, but I'll definitely be watching. Al, real quick, the video of Barney going down in 1997, I mean, that video is scary. Did he survive? Did he make it through that?
He did, but he was never the same. It was sad, really. We haven't seen him since. Super-de-duper, not so much.
All right, Al Roker for us. Al, take care. We'll be watching tomorrow. We're going to switch gears here now to our other major headline. A federal judge denying Sean Diddy Combs bail ahead of the holidays. The rapper charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He's pled not guilty. His lawyers claiming the prosecution's case is thin, but prosecutors arguing Combs could tamper with witnesses if released. For more on the judge's decision and what it could mean for this case moving forward, I'm joined by our good friend, criminal defense attorney Sarah Azari. Sarah, thanks for being here. So I know you weren't surprised by this decision, but what does it tell us about the severity of these charges?
Well, I think it speaks to the charges in the sense that, Tom, the racketeering charge has predicate acts that support it. And those predicate acts are violent acts. One of the major ones being the domestic violence on Cassie that was captured on video in 2016. So the idea is that he's a danger to the community. It doesn't matter that he's putting up $50 million, his collateral, his homes, all of this, because ultimately there are no set of conditions that would guarantee the safety of the community.
So the case has obviously gotten a lot of media coverage, and since then there have been more and more lawsuits, right? They've piled on to Diddy since these allegations came out. Does that have any impact on how the judge makes his decisions? Does he ignore that because he just sticks to the criminal charges?
Well, you have to stick to the allegations in the criminal indictment. So there are lawsuits, there are accusations, there are rumors, but to the extent that they overlap with what the prosecution has presented as their evidence, at least on paper in an indictment, it does come in. So anything that shows that Diddy has a propensity for violence does not have to be necessarily laid out in detail. The judge can consider.
So that video that we've been talking about with Cassie in the hotel room. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I do want to ask you, you mentioned how much money he has. He said he's put up for bail. He has probably a legal dream team because he has the means. Do you think there's any chance that he gets out before his trial?
I don't think so. And the problem here is not as much the flight risk factor as it is the danger to the community. And that's always a problem. When I have that as the issue in a case, there's almost rarely a set of conditions that satisfies the court. And so he's put it, I mean, he's offering a security team. He's offering monitoring. He's offering, giving up his phone and only being in communication with his lawyers. And still the court isn't satisfied. So he can come back another 30 times, as many times as he wants to.
It's not over for him. Yeah.
No, but he's got to present a packet and terms that are acceptable to the court. And I just don't see what more he can offer.
Okay. Sarah Azari for us tonight. Sarah, great to have you in studio.
Good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. We're also following reports tonight of violent threats made against several of President-elect Trump's picks to lead his new administration. Federal authorities now working with local law enforcement to investigate multiple bomb threats. Kelly O'Donnell is in West Palm Beach tonight with the latest.
Tonight, the Trump team rocked by an alarming news scare aimed at cabinet picks and top figures for the coming administration. Transition officials announced violent, un-American threats that range from bomb threats to swatting. The White House said President Biden was briefed, and he and his administration unequivocally condemned threats of political violence. The FBI said it is working with local law enforcement and noted, "We take all potential threats seriously." 3 law enforcement sources said no actual explosives were found, and these appear to be hoax attacks delivered through email and social media. A few of those targeted identified themselves publicly. Matt Gaetz, who withdrew for Attorney General, said a bomb squad responded to a Florida home where a threat was made. Lee Zeldin, picked to head the Environmental Protection Agency, writes, "A pipe bomb threat targeting me and my family at our home today was sent in with a pro-Palestinian themed message." And Elise Stefanik, selected as ambassador to the United Nations, praised the response to her upstate New York home after a threat this morning, thanking the extraordinary dedication of law enforcement. This wave of new threats, a disturbing reminder of attempts on Mr. Trump's life this summer. Today, a transition spokeswoman declared, "Dangerous acts of intimidation and violence will not deter us."
Okay, with that, Kelly O'Donnell joins us live tonight from West Palm Beach. So, Kelly, I know the transition team has been busy announcing other new names to the president-elect's team.
That's right. And there's been a range of them in the last 24 hours on economic matters, in the public health space, and today in national security, where former President Trump, president-elect, is saying that he would like retired General Keith Kellogg, who was a part of the first term in the national security team, to take on a new role as the special envoy to Ukraine and Russia. And, of course, that is notable because Mr. Trump has said he would like to see that war ended quickly. Also tonight, Pete Hegseth, who is the choice to be the next defense secretary, has come forward as well to say that he has also received these threats. Tom?
Yeah, that news just coming in. All right, Kelly O'Donnell with some new reporting tonight for us. Kelly, we appreciate that. We also want to take a deeper dive tonight into one of Trump's signature campaign promises, the mass deportation of millions of undocumented immigrants. Trump made his immigration policies a hallmark of his campaign, promising to finish the border wall he started in his first term and reinstitute the Remain in Mexico policy, requiring asylum seekers to wait south of the border while their claims are processed. But the centerpiece of his immigration immigration agenda, what his campaign website calls the largest deportation operation in American history. To do that, Trump says he will declare a national emergency after taking office, deploying the military to the southern border to assist. Trump's point man on immigration, Tom Llamas, the former director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, Llamas detailing the plan during a visit to Texas yesterday and issuing a warning to governors and mayors that oppose the deportations.
I'm sending a message for people that say they're going to get in our way. They're going to stop us from doing what we're doing on interior enforcement operation. I've said 100 times in the last week, don't cross that line. It's a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. Don't test us. The nation wants a safe country. We've had enough crime in this country, illegal alien crime. It's time to end it and stop it. President Trump's committed to it.
Immigration advocates are worried about what the deportations will look like in practice. Llamas helped oversee Trump's controversial child separation policy during his first administration, which separated thousands of children from their families, many of them never reunited. The other outstanding question is a logistical one. There are nearly 4 million cases backlogged in immigration court right now, which an Axios analysis projects will take 4 years to clear. But if we add the over 10 million undocumented immigrants who Trump has promised to deport, the Axios estimate says all those cases could take 16 years for courts to sort through. So is Trump's deportation plan possible? What will it all cost? And are measures like deploying troops to the border even legal? I want to bring in two men who know immigration very well tonight. Lee Gallant is the deputy director of the Immigrants' Rights Project at the ACLU, and Brandon Judd is a former president of the National Border Patrol Council. I thank you both for being here tonight. Brandon, I do want to start with you. Walk us through what the term mass deportation actually means. What does that look like? And what should Americans expect to see on their streets as this is carried out?
So it's obviously not going to be door to door. You can't do that. That's impossible. What you're looking at is you're looking at checking out what all the court dockets are in every single major city, looking at who is going before a judge. And if that individual is going to be released, if that's going to be the last time that they're going to be in court, then you take that individual into custody, regardless of whether the city is a sanctuary city. You can't stop federal officers from doing their jobs, even if it's in a sanctuary city. So that's what it's going to look like. You're going to be looking for those criminals, whether they're currently in the prisons, whether they have a court case for whatever it might be, and you're going to go after those individuals first. And then after that, you're going to look at employers, and are employers hiring illegal people that are in the country illegally, and then you're going to go after them. You know, it's all stuff that has been done. You're just going to do it on a much larger scale.
Brandon, do you see in that process, that first scenario, do you see undocumented immigrants being taken from whatever detention center they're in, immediately being put on a bus or a plane, and then being deported? Or do you think there's a second step here where there's, a mass detention center where they're being kept before they're taken to their countries?
So that's what's really frustrating to me is everybody has this idea that immigration officers take people into custody and then immediately remove them from the country. That's just not true. These individuals have due process. They have the right to see a judge. It's ultimately a judge that makes the determination on what's going to happen, and then immigration officers carry out that judge's order, unless that undocumented individual voluntarily decides that they want to be taken back to their country or something like that. So it's not immigration officers. It's not Tom Llamas that puts somebody on a plane and sends them back. They go before a judge makes that determination, and then immigration officers carries out that order.
And essentially catch and release as we know it now would be gone in this new scenario.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Lee, you're on the front lines of this, right? We just heard some of the scenarios. And again, look, it may look just like that. It may look completely different. But from what you heard from Brandon there, is this feasible? Do you think it's going to look like this? Is it legal?
Right. Well, I think that's the question. Is it going to look like that, or is it going to look like something different? I mean, I agree with your guest that they're entitled to due process rights and there need to be hearings. What I am worried about is the attempt to have summary deportations without hearings, and also go after people, not hardened criminals and national security threats, but families with little children, and separate them. So one of the things we saw at the end of the first Trump administration is trying to use an expedited removal process in the interior of the country where you don't actually get a hearing. A supervisor's signature is enough to remove the person without ever seeing a judge. And what I'm hearing is that the Trump administration intends to bring that back. That would mean sweeping up people all throughout the country if they can't prove that they've been here more than 2 years, and deporting without any process. I'm also hearing the administration say they want to use the Alien Enemies Act in the military to have summary deportations. So I think the question is what we will actually see in practice.
Do you think we're going to see raids? I mean, we have seen those before. I can recall ICE raids happening during the Obama administration as well at times. Trump administration, do you think we'll be seeing scenes like that?
I suspect we will.
So, I'm sorry, Brandon. I'll get you in right here. Lee, you think we're going to see those?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I suspect we will. And look, there have been deportations under every administration. I think the question is going to be, are we really going to see mass deportations in the millions and millions? I think that will hurt the economy. It will separate families, and it will just not be good public policy, and it will cause terror throughout our streets. But there will be deportations. There are under every administration. I think the question is, what is this going to look like in practice? You know, and you've mentioned the American public wants immigration reform. We do as well. I think the question is that's sort of an abstract notion of immigration reform. Will the American public stand for going after families with U.S. citizen children, putting the military in the streets? I think there will be a line over which the public will say, no, not anymore. And that's what we saw during family separation in the first term, where people thought the American public had been desensitized to such an extent they wouldn't speak out. But when they saw little babies and toddlers being ripped from their parents, then the people spoke out. And I think that's what we'll see if it really is this kind of mass deportation. Maybe it'll be much more limited, as your guest is suggesting, but I think right now we're taking the rhetoric very seriously.
You know, Brandon, if you read The Art of the Deal and you study President-elect Trump, you know, he has said in negotiations, you always come very heavy, right? You come strong at first, just to kind of almost shock the person you're negotiating with, or your opponent, if you will, to get what you essentially really want. Do you think he's putting this out there, this campaign and this rhetoric about the mass deportations? He's going to be tough on immigration, but it won't be as extreme maybe as some are reporting or speculating?
I think that he uses every tool in the toolbox. I absolutely know that he negotiates, trying to, get as much as he possibly can. I mean, all we have to do is look at what he did with Mexico. He threatened terrorists greater than the amount of money that the cartels were able to bring into the economy. And when he did that, they agreed to remain in Mexico. And it was a hugely successful program. So when you look at all of that, absolutely, he's going to use every single tool in the toolbox. The legal tools, remain in Mexico was legal. All of those legal tools he's going to use to effectuate safety and security for the American people. And that's what we're all looking for. Remember, we're talking about illegal immigration, not legal. Illegal immigration. Nobody's against legal immigration. It's all about illegal immigration. How do we actually secure our borders, keep Americans safe, go after the cartels, go after the fentanyl, do everything that we need to do to protect the American people?
Lee, when you look at the polling, and the question is asked about mass deportation, 50 to more than 50% of Americans polled when they're asked the question say that they are in favor of mass deportations. And I know there is some pushback about the way the questions are asked, and there's different polls, but it seems like, a majority of Americans, when asked this question, are okay with mass deportations. My question to you is that when people see it up close, when they actually experience it in their communities, do you think the polling will stay at that level?
I don't think so. And that's what I was suggesting before. That's just sort of an abstract, vague notion, mass deportations. And I think when asked that way, people say yes. When they actually see what that means in practice, I don't think they will, just like they didn't want babies ripped away. One of the questions I got constantly during the first Trump administration from friends, from, acquaintances was, wait, I didn't know they were going to take the custodian of my son's school away. He's such a nice guy. He doesn't bother anybody. He works hard. And I think once we see people like that being, picked up, deported, detained in mass detention camps, I think the public will push back. And I think they'll say, no, that's not what we actually meant. We thought you were only going to go after serious criminals and national security threats. And the notion that all of these migrants are threats to our country, are dangerous, are criminals, I mean, anybody who just stops for a second to think about it, thinks about the immigrants they know, knows that's not true. And I think the people who know best are mayors, Democratic or Republican, who see immigrants revitalizing their communities. And if we start deporting millions and millions of people, I think we'll see businesses push back and say you're hurting the economy. So we'll have to see what it looks like, but we're prepared for the worst.
Brandon, you could argue the economy is one of the reasons why President-elect Trump won that election. I do want to ask you, our Kristen Welker asked President-elect Trump about the deportation policy and what it will cost, and he didn't really give her an answer. Do you have any idea how much this plan will cost taxpayers? I know a lot of figures have been thrown out there, and they're massive, especially at a time when we're trying to get the deficit under control.
Until we have an operation, there's no way to determine what it's going to cost. What I can tell you, though, is that the cost that we've been dealing with the number of people that have been crossing our borders illegally is more than 6 times the number that we've ever dealt with before. So I certainly think that when you look at those numbers and when you re-implement Remain in Mexico and drive those numbers down, then that money can just be diverted to handle all of these operations that are going to go into place. So again, I just don't think that we can speculate on that until we actually see the operation. Tom Homan yesterday said that it's in the planning stages. That's what they're doing right now. They're trying to develop the operation so that when President Trump is inaugurated, and he takes office, then you can implement that. But until that, we just can't say it. Now, I do have to push back a little bit right now. When we talk about ripping babies away, I was a Border Patrol agent at that time. I would love to see a picture of a baby being ripped away. I think we have to be careful with that type of rhetoric because it paints a picture that just isn't true. And it puts law enforcement in a dangerous position because anytime you say a baby has been ripped away, you're going to blame that on the law enforcement agents. We do not rip babies away.
Lee, you're on the front lines of those cases. I remember it's where we first met on child separation. I'll let you have the last word on what Brandon just said.
Yeah, that's absolutely not true what's being said. The family separation policy required officers to forcibly take children away if their parents wouldn't voluntarily give them away, and under coercion, obviously. I think it's been documented over and over and over. The reason there are no pictures but actually happening is because they wouldn't let the media in. But there are affidavits, countless affidavits of parents talking about how their children were forcibly taken from them. I think it's beyond any doubt now that that's what happened. It may be that the officers on the ground didn't want to do that, but they were told they had to. I think at this point there has been findings and findings and findings that that's what happened. Lee
Gallant, Brandon Judge, I thank you for the civil conversation. We're going to keep it going as we head into the Trump administration. We want to head overseas now. The ceasefire that went into effect between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon appears to be holding. Tonight, some of those displaced are able to return to their homes. Matt Bradley is on the ground in Beirut tonight.
24 hours after the ceasefire deal, there are still bullets over Beirut, but this is celebratory gunfire, marking the end of nearly 14 months of fighting between Hezbollah and Israel that killed thousands of Lebanese citizens and, according to Lebanese officials, displaced more than 1 million. Going back home is the nicest feeling, said this woman from the eastern Bekaa Valley. We're returning with our dignity back to our homes. But for others, home appears to have all but vanished. Mahmoud Al-Aouni says his destroyed house is the only place he has to live. The deal ends a conflict that started after the October 7th Hamas terror attacks, when Iranian-backed Hezbollah started firing rockets into northern Israel, killing dozens and displacing tens of thousands. During months of fighting, Israel killed Hezbollah's leader and top deputies. A top U.S. negotiator speaking to NBC's Andrea Mitchell.
Look, the Lebanese people actually never wanted this conflict. They didn't ask for it. Hezbollah forced it on them.
But some Hezbollah supporters insisting peace means victory. I asked him what he thought about the ceasefire. He said, what ceasefire? This is a victory. He says that Hezbollah definitely was victorious against the Israelis. A big part of this deal is that both sides reserve the right to respond in self-defense. And Israel's prime minister has made it clear that Israel will consider military action if the terms of the deal are violated. Tom?
Matt Bradley for us tonight. Matt, we thank you for that. Still ahead tonight, the violent crash landing after a plane misses the runway. Dramatic video showing the moment of impact, the aircraft wrapping, you see it right there, around a tree and clipping a fire hydrant. What we're learning about the people inside. Plus, sad news about former talk show host Wendy Williams. Her team revealing she is permanently incapacitated due to dementia. And Amazon workers around the world preparing to go on strike through the busiest shopping weekend. The reason behind the move and what it could mean for your Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Stay with us. We are back now with news of a strike that could really impact your holiday shopping at the world's largest online retailer. Amazon workers in more than 20 countries are set to hold protests between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, the busiest time of the year for shopping. Organizers behind the Make Amazon Pay effort say the protests are to hold Amazon accountable for labor abuses, environmental degradation, and threats to democracy. A spokesperson for Amazon telling NBC News the company is proud of the competitive pay, comprehensive benefits, and safe work experience they provide. For more on this, let's bring in Brian Chung. And Brian, this is serious. I mean, as we just said, it's the busiest time of year for online shopping.
Yeah, look, I mean, when it comes to Amazon, this is their Super Bowl, right? So you imagine that if there's going to be people walking out on the job, well, that could be a major impact to them. For what it's worth, if we just dial into the reason behind this strike, this is a group, as you mentioned, that's calling this Make Amazon Pay. They want better pay, they want better working conditions, and they have environmental concerns with the way that Amazon operates as well. This is two groups that have organized this. This is a Switzerland-based group called UNI Global and also Progressive International. They're teaming up to organize this, not just in the United States, Tom, but as you mentioned, in over 20 countries around the world, including in the United Kingdom. What locations those are going to be specifically, we don't know at this point in time, but you can imagine that that could be a lot of people.
You know, a lot of people are going to be watching this and they're going to be concerned. I mean, how will this affect their shopping and getting packages on time?
Yeah, well, I mean, the short answer is we don't know. However, this is not the first time that this Make Amazon Pay movement has been put together. They did the same strike during the Black Friday and Cyber Monday weekend last year, and it didn't really appear to have an impact on Amazon's performance. And for what it's worth, as you mentioned, Amazon does defend themselves against these allegations, and they say that they're always trying to look for ways to improve, but they say they're proud of the competitive pay, comprehensive benefits, and, quote, engaging, safe work experience. You
know, I want to put something else on the screen for our viewers here that Amazon said. They said the world purchased more than 1 billion items over an 11-day period, including Black Friday to Cyber Monday. This was last year. Do we think that this could affect the company at all? I mean, not the bottom line, but in getting packages, but in the long run?
Yeah, and by the way, Amazon said they had a record-breaking performance last year, so it doesn't appear that the strike really impacted them, at least on that front. But when you talk about the overall business, I mean, yeah, we all think about Amazon as the e-commerce Goliath in the industry, but we have to remember it's not just in packages that they make money. Their Amazon Web Services are a huge part of their business, arguably the bigger one, which, you know, talk to Wall Street analysts, they say that's the one they pay more attention to. So again, this strike is a big deal, and we can't discount that. But again, Amazon is
and as I'm sure you know, in the history of Amazon, they sort of stumbled upon that business. It turned out to be
books
a huge moneymaker. Yeah. All right, Brian, great talking to you, man. When we come back, dramatic rescue: a man about to roll off a bridge when an officer grabs him right before tragedy strikes. The incredible moment caught on camera. That's next. All right, we are back now with Top Stories Newsfeed. We begin with lawyers for former talk show host Wendy Williams saying she is afflicted by early onset dementia. A legal memo saying the 60-year-old is, quote, cognitively impaired and permanently incapacitated. Williams was diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia and dementia last year. The news comes from a lawsuit against the docuseries Where is Wendy Williams, which accuses the series of taking advantage of her. Williams has had health issues publicly since 2017 when she fainted on air before her show was canceled in 2022. Okay, a geyser erupting in Fullerton, California after a small plane crashed into a fire hydrant near the airport. Here is the surveillance video. It shows the plane crash landing, skidding into the fire hydrant and a nearby tree. Eyewitnesses rushed in to help the two passengers as the fire hydrant explodes, sending water shooting into the air. The two people on board were hospitalized and are expected to survive. And a life-saving leap, an Oklahoma City police officer saving a man who actually rolled off a bridge. Body cam video, you see it here, showing a man sleeping on a bridge roll over the side. The officer leaps forward, getting to him in time to catch his sweatshirt, a passerby stopping to help pull the man to safety. The man was not injured, believe it or not, and the cop gave him a ride back to his family. Okay, and 3 decades of blue. The colorful drummers from the Blue Man Group will go dark soon. Both the New York and Chicago productions of The Painted Performance are set to close early next year. However, the shows in Berlin, Boston, and Vegas will remain open. The New York production, get this, opened back in 1991 and performed more than 17,000 times over its lifetime. The Blue Men, raking in, I should say, more than $100 million annually. Pretty lucrative. Okay, now to an update on a story we've been following. 3 American prisoners have finally been released from a Chinese prison after being wrongfully detained in the country for years. The release part of a prisoner swap, according to government officials. NBC's Janice Mackey-Frey has this one.
After years in Chinese prisons, 3 Americans are heading home tonight. Mark Swadan, Kai Li, and John Long, now safely in U.S. custody, according to the White House. The rare prisoner swap in the works for months. We spoke to the U.S. ambassador here last month.
They were prosecuted and convicted of crimes which they did not commit. There was no reason to put them in the jail.
Mark Swadan was on death row since 2012 on drug charges. Kai Li accused of spying and jailed after a closed-door trial. The State Department calling them wrongfully detained. China says their cases were handled according to law, leaving families to lobby Congress to do more.
What about my dad? When will it be his turn?
China had jailed the 3rd American, John Long, accusing him of being an FBI informant.
Getting detained Americans released here, even to facilities back home, is complicated because there's no treaty or agreement between the countries to transfer prisoners.
According to a U.S. official, the U.S. handing back 2 Chinese nationals in return, including Xu Yanjun, a convicted spy prosecutors linked to China's state security.
Janice Mackey-Frey, NBC News.
Now to top stories, Global Watch, and we begin with the new arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court. The ICC's chief prosecutor issuing a warrant for the Supreme General of Myanmar's military, Min Aung Hlaing, for alleged crimes against the Rohingya Muslims. The general who seized power in 2021 is accused of persecuting and deporting members of the ethnic minority. Nearly 1 million Rohingya have fled the country to escape what has been called an ethnic cleansing in the Buddhist majority nation. Okay, former Vietnamese property tycoon Chong My Lan has been ordered to pay $11 billion to avoid execution for her role in the nation's largest fraud scandal. My Lan was convicted and sentenced to both life in prison and death after she was convicted of embezzling a total of $16.4 billion in 2 trials. Vietnamese law requires the return of 3/4 of stolen assets for a jury to reconsider that sentence. Her lawyer says My Lan can meet payback requirements to avoid execution. A Ukrainian freediver, Katerina Sadurska, broke her own world record off the coast of Dominica. Sadurska made the record-breaking dive with no fins in a freediving competition. You can see a clip right over here. She dove to a depth of 269 feet in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Again, she did this with no fins and no tank, holding her breath the entire time. This marks her 6th global record, weeks after Sadurska dove 262 feet off the coast of Greece. Okay, when we come back, do you think you could make an entire Thanksgiving meal for just $20? One TikToker cracked the code buying all of her ingredients from Dollar Tree. We'll show you what she used to make a delicious 3-course meal. That's next. We are back now with an early look at Black Friday, that time of year where savvy shoppers hunt down the best deals for electronics, clothes, toys, and more. But how can they be sure they're really getting the best price? Experts now say price checkers are the way to go. Here's Brian Chung again for us tonight.
With the days of doorbusters long gone, the calendar creep of Black Friday has now made its way earlier in the week. Amazon, Target, and Walmart are already offering discounts to consumers.
The 25th of November? That's less than a fortnight.
putting the onus on the shopper to see if the prices are truly perfect now. Shoppers are skeptical.
Oh, it says it's 20% off, but that's actually the price it's been all year.
Black Friday does remain the best time of year for the deepest discounts, according to Adobe Analytics, which tracks prices online.
Because consumers perceive the best absolute discounts to fall between Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday, they really make sure they're offering some of their best priced items during that period.
We wanted to see for ourselves, tracking the price tags on some gifts you might be eyeing for the holidays. Take the newest AirPods Pros, which have been discounted on and off through the last few months. But the best deal we saw was this weekend, $30 off. And the same trend with this coffee maker, which is the cheapest it's been in months.
But other items we tracked, like these sneakers, these toys, or this TV, haven't been significantly discounted in recent weeks.
I think that some brands may say it's on sale. However, it's like the same price, but they may just like fake the price as like higher and say, oh, it's on sale.
Experts advise use price checking tools and take advantage of price matching in store to truly get the best deals. A little homework going a long way this holiday season. Brian Chung, NBC News.
And a big thanks to Brian for pulling double duty tonight. And it's not just electronics and gadgets you can get a good deal on this year. We want to show you what could be the best value you'll see this holiday season for your dinner table. Take a look at this receipt for a viral trend. It's called the Dollar Tree Thanksgiving Dinner, and it's a full meal for just $20. All the Thanksgiving staples are there, from turkey stuffing to potatoes, even cranberries, all just $1.25 each. The idea may sound half-baked, but with many feeling that financial strain boiling over this holiday season, it's becoming more and more popular. NBC's Ellison Barber has this look at the TikTok creator behind the ultimate Thanksgiving value meal.
This is all of the best parts of Thanksgiving.
This Thanksgiving, your feast with friends and family doesn't have to break the bank.
I have done the $20 Thanksgiving dinner 2 years in a row. This will be my third year.
TikTok creator Rebecca Chobot, known online for her Dollar Tree dinners recipes, going viral for this year's affordable take on a classic holiday meal.
I have a bit of a vision for this dinner. The idea is for an appetizer, we're going to make some fried mac and cheese balls, and that's why I got the ranch dressing, is to dip those in. For the entree, I'm actually going to be combining the entree and the sides and make a best of Thanksgiving casserole. And then for the dessert, we're going to make some caramel apple cookie bars.
All of this picked up from Dollar Tree for just one $20 bill.
And I attribute this largely to the fact that Dollar Tree got a good amount of Thanksgiving-related food items in stock this year, including canned turkey.
Compare this to the average cost of a Thanksgiving meal, which the Farm Bureau reports will cost almost 3 times as much, with half of that going to the turkey alone.
A whole turkey only benefits somebody with a fridge big enough to store it in and an oven to bake it in.
Rebecca's meal racking up 8 million views on TikTok. Other content creators seeing the meal's impact in real time.
Went to the dollar store tonight to get some canned vegetables, and this woman pulled up next to me whenever I was going in. And, you know, she was kind of driving a beat up car, and she had 3 little kids with her. And she said that for Thanksgiving this year, she was just going to do like frozen meals or something. But she said because of those videos that she's actually going to be able to give her kids like a real Thanksgiving dinner, and her kids are excited for it.
Rebecca, emotional to hear the impact of her recipe.
I don't have the words to describe how I'm feeling today. I think the closest I can come to is that I'm humbled and I am honored.
A reminder, it's not about the food you serve, but the people you share it with.
There's a ton of people, because I've seen the comments, people who are struggling who now have an idea of, wait, I can actually make something with variety for me or my family.
Ellison Barber, NBC News.
We thank you so much for watching Top Story tonight, and we hope you have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow with your family. We're going to be here. There's more news on the way. Stay right there.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.